love bombed and $300,000 in debt. Like that is insane. So I always browse articles. So, well, no, I'm really not trying to browse. I'm just, opening my web browser, and these articles come on, and this caught my eye. So, an Ottawa woman accused her husband of love bombing her and leaving her $300,000 in debt. And that just blew my mind. Like, how is this happening? And so, obviously, I read through the article once, twice, and the most important like element that could have avoided all of this is also still missing from that article. And I'm like, how is this even possible? So anyway, Shirin Abdi and I, we're both family law lawyers, and we are going to give our take on the story, and we'll also tell you, just the one simple thing that could have just solved all of this. So, well, Shirin, what's your take? Because this is a relatively like short relationship, 2 months, they're married. What are your thoughts there?
No, 100%. Like, the one biggest thing for me is just like the biggest red flag. Like, I just don't know how people don't see it. Even just like doing some basic financial digging, like having no idea about the other's personal finances. I could see how this all unfolded, but there were a lot of red flags along the way. At least, from a third party picking up on it, I could see so many. But obviously, like in that environment of being like, I guess, love bomb, which is a new term that I've even like more recently learned. There's actually a term for it. So it's very interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, so me personally reading through the article, I had no problem with people getting married within a couple of months. Like it wasn't a big deal to me. I know that, society
Happens.
we want to like date people, but what I've come to learn from our work is honestly, 5 years into a marriage, the person you married isn't even what's 5 years? 5 minutes into the marriage, the person you married isn't even the person you were dating. So sometimes I feel like maybe knowing the person is over. Just my take, of working on thousands of divorce files. But even the I kind of felt bad for her because I love love. I love romance. The idea that they have these romance Fridays and he'll send her love songs and they'll dance together. Like I don't know. I just think that it's something that she should have enjoyed. And when you say financial like digging, I'm like, I don't know if many of us are really doing that much digging before getting into a relationship, into a marriage, except of course you're a family law lawyer and now you know these things. But I still struggle when I see that love bombing because I think people can actually enjoy a whirlwind romance and still be financially protected. And couldn't all of this have just been avoided by a damn marriage contract? Like that's the only thing I found missing in all of this.
And that's the thing, like marriage contracts can really, like if she had one, this wouldn't have made headlines. This wouldn't have been the story. This is not just a new story too. This has happened a few times.
Yes.
Sensationally, there's been a lot of situations where women have been conned into, similar relationships where they're financially destitute after. So it's not a new concept, but you never think it's going to be you. I mean, fundamentally, all of this could have been just avoided. Marriage contract would have identified what you walk away with the relationship with, what is, your liability. And the concern is in this
And I
circumstance,
think she really,
yeah.
it helps with the part you were saying about the financial digging because I think, the marriage contract maybe wouldn't have protected her to the extent that she was actually giving him these loans. But you had made a comment earlier that about financial digging, and I guess if they were doing a marriage contract, she would have like known a little bit more about his financial picture. Like, do you want to shed a little bit more light on that?
Absolutely. So, as part of the marriage contract, we go through the bouts of financial disclosure. You want to know what you're walking into. A lot of the times, people just kind of ignore that step or just don't care because they're in this like grand feeling of love. Fortunately, there are lawyers who are very adamant that this takes place because even from the prospect of, is this the real true picture you're getting, aside from the feelings? Like when now you see the financial picture, get to see what those person's circumstances are financially, what their assets are, what their liabilities are. In further circumstances where there's some red flags, we might ask for the account statements and we might want to see kind of what a history of pattern looks like. If there are, immediate red flags. Let's say someone's walking into the relationship with already, let's just call it a couple $100,000 in debt or even significant debt for the other person. That always draws the question of, okay, where's this debt coming from? Usually if you have an asset, you think, okay, like there's a debt associated with it, that's fine. But, You see credit card debts accumulated, you see, outstanding student loans, you see significant lines of credit being drawn. And it starts to beg the question of like, okay, am I getting the true picture here? So that's why it's super
Yeah.
important to get that financial disclosure.
And even the things you don't see to make a difference. Now, I can't remember what he may have said to her to get these loans from her, but a lot of times these people would say things like it's their business. For example, they need to put money into these businesses and things like that. Well, part of the financial disclosure would require having to see those business like statements. And maybe these businesses don't even exist for the most part. And so then you get to know that. So I think not just a marriage contract, but I really like what you said is that the financial disclosure part of it could make you be aware. And again, informed decisions. That's always my thing, right? If you are, you can know. So if you get those statements and you were talking about someone that's in a lot of debt, well, you can marry someone that is financially irresponsible. And I'm being very general with that term. I don't mean to suggest by any stretch of the imagination that financial irresponsibility is the reason why people are in debt. But I'm just saying in that let's say we're dealing with someone that's actually that way, then you know, right? And then you understand that my money values is different from this person. Then it helps how you organize your affairs in the relationship. Then you know that's not the kind of person that you want to give access to your credit cards as an example because they're not their values around money is just different from yours. And I still think that's okay. Like these things can happen, but you just have to know who you're dealing with. And in the process of getting that marriage contract or cohabitation agreement done, you can get a better picture of the person that you're dealing with, right?
Don't make love make you blind. It's okay to be in love, it's okay to have feelings for somebody, but it's one thing to, have to commingle every aspect and intertwine yourselves because you just don't know how these situations unfold because you do hear stories of like this and you don't think that's going to be you. But just take those precautions. It makes sense to because you also want a good financial picture. If like in the sense that you don't know and you're being manipulated, if you're doing the financial disclosure and some digging, it might even bring your mind up to the fact that okay, maybe this isn't what I thought it was, and it would be a little
Yes.
clearer for you.
Yeah. So for those that say, well, we're not moving in together yet, and so maybe a marriage contract is in the process for me. And if you're going to loan someone money, maybe talk to a lawyer, right? Like if it's for their business, well, do you want to see their business financials, for example? Have you spoken to their accountant? There is always a place for you to ask a few more questions. 2 months in a whirlwind relationship and getting married is fantastic, and I'm happy for them. But 2 months to loan a person money is in a world of its own. And I recognize that people are conned into these things, and that's why I strongly suggest that you get legal advice. A marriage contract or prenup, whatever term you want to use, would have been very helpful in this case because we're dealing with people that are getting married. If you're not getting married, even if you're not moving together, you should still consider a cohabitation agreement because if they're spending a lot of time in your place, people forget that cohabitation in law means something different. It doesn't mean that they share their address, the same address with you, and that all their mail comes to your home and all of that. No, it's a lot more loose than that. You might find yourself financially obligated in that sense if they're just spending a lot of nights at your home or spending summers in your home, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, it's an unfortunate story. When I read through it and I found that this idea of having a marriage contract was lacking, and I thought we really need to weigh in on this. So please consider those those co-have agreements. They will save your life. It's not just in protecting you after the fact if they come after you, but just making sure it helps you see the full financial picture of that person that you're trusting, not just your heart to, but your wallet, your entire bank account too. So I think we've sounded a large enough alarm on this issue. It's a cautionary tale to all. So we'll leave it here for now. And yeah, until next time, bye.
Bye.